Hey, Bob. Wanna fight? Shit.
Oh, Gene, I'm so sorry. I'll never hurt you or anyone ever again.
It's too late.
No!
You can't hide.
No, Gene! No! Most people would say that the X-Men movies as of late have been a bit lackluster with X3 and X-Men Origins Wolverine. Most of the movies depend on just these big action sequences, whereas this newer movie, Wolverine, relies more on character development, which makes it a somewhat better movie, but it still has its own flaws. Wolverine takes place after X-Men 3, where we find Logan in the wilderness just trying to stay away from everything, because he's so distraught after having to kill the one woman that he loved in Jean Grey. He even is haunted by dreams of seeing her in bed with him, and he keeps making a promise to her that he'll never hurt anybody ever again, no matter the circumstances. We also see him in the wilderness, and at this point it seems like his only friend is a bear. And you see him going around just avoiding people altogether. He avoids conflict altogether. He sees these hunters that just aren't the best people. The one point that he actually decides to do something is when he sees that those hunters actually ended up hurting the bear that he became friends with, in a way. And it forces him to go to the bar where the hunters are, where he also meets Yukio. There's a flashback at a certain point where you see Logan, who seems to be a prisoner of some sort for the Japanese army. And he's held underground in a kind of cave well-like thing. And it's during the time of the Nagasaki bombing. You see a younger man, and as he's seeing the bomb drop, he tries to, at least when he sees that a bomb is about to drop, he decides to free Logan. And Logan explains to him it's best to stay in the well, especially considering the blast radius. And Yashada takes it upon himself that he's going to do the way of the samurai, where he kills himself instead of letting the bomb kill him. And Logan ends up saving him. This forces Yashada later in life to feel like he owes something to him. And he finds out a way where he can let him die a normal way. So he sends his friend Yukio to go and retrieve Logan and bring him to Japan so that he can give him this gift for saving him all those years ago. When we see Logan arrive in Japan, he's very much a fish out of water. And he doesn't understand the Japanese culture, he doesn't understand their language, which makes it hard for him to understand what's going on. And the only person that really seems to speak English is Yukio and Yashada when he finally meets him. And he begins to notice these things that are not right. And he wants to engage, but considering his pledge to Jean, he doesn't. He doesn't want to end up hurting anybody. What he ends up getting involved in is a big power struggle between this character Shinjin, who wants the control of Yashada's business, and Mariko, who is Yashada's daughter. And he's not really sure which way to go, but considering he begins to develop somewhat of a love interest kind of thing with Mariko, he decides to help her. I won't delve too much further into the story because I think it's better if you see it. I don't want to spoil anything for any of you. As far as the movie goes, I would say it's one of the better X-Men movies as of late, but again, that doesn't say much considering how bad they've been. I would say First Class has been the best X-Men movie to date, and it still stays that way. This Wolverine movie is the best Wolverine movie to date, but again, that doesn't say much considering X-Men Origins Wolverine was terrible. This film does a better job of staying true to the character, and Hugh Jackman does a phenomenal job in the role. He understands how to portray the troubled soul kind of aspect, and he still has that ferocity to be able to deal with the action sequences. And the action sequences in this movie, James Mangold, the director, does a fantastic job. Every single action sequence in this movie has a certain ferocity to it that is very realistic. And you do, at certain points, do see blood on his claws, which is a good thing, but I understand that there are some fans that would actually like to see limbs come off, but that's not going to happen in a comic book movie because you're still going to have children go to see these movies. When I first saw the movie, I will say that I was a bit harsh on the movie, and looking back, I think it is better than I originally thought. I still think that there are flaws in the movie, but most people will go see this movie because it's Wolverine, and when you hear Wolverine, you expect action, and you get that pretty well in this movie. The action sequences, like I said, are very good, especially the one that you see in the trailer on the train. That entire sequence was great. And even the fight scenes between the samurais, they were all fantastic. And the thing that is even better about it is the fact that it's not CGI. It's the actual actors doing the fighting, which makes it seem even more realistic, and somehow, considering you have Logan with these big huge claws coming out of his hands, but still you get past that and you actually think that these people are actually fighting and that they could die at any point. My main issue with the film is the fact that there was a lot of inconsistencies with the plot, especially later in the film where it became too much of a comic book movie and still didn't even stay true to the comic. I wouldn't get into that because of spoilers. The best part of the movie, though, has to be the end credits where it factors into the Days of Future Past, which comes out next year. It's the sequel to the First Class. Again, as I said, Hugh Jackman did a phenomenal job. I can't really see anybody else in the role. And considering this is the first movie I've seen him in ever since Les Mis, I would say that he put on a lot of extra weight and made me feel pretty bad and makes me feel like I need to go work out more often. Yeah, that's how I feel right now. As far as the villains go, they were the weakest part of the movie. The one that plays Viper, I can't even pronounce the actress's name. She was very, very one-dimensional and very much a carbon cutout of a character. Just didn't really give anything to the overall plot of the movie. And the other villain was... he was just kind of there. He fit with the overall tone of the film, but it wasn't a very well fleshed out character. Overall, I'm going to have to give the movie 3 stars out of 5. The lack of compelling villains makes it come down a little bit, and the fact that the last 30 minutes of the movie was very comic booky and over the top, it just kind of slighted the movie to me. Most people go see this movie for action, and you get that in spades. Hugh Jackman does a fantastic job in the role. Can't really expect anything else at this point. And James Mangold does a good job in the role of the director. So it still is a compelling movie. It's a good summer blockbuster type movie, but it has its flaws. So it is what it is. But anyways, thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you thought in the comments below. Thank you.